Brendan Rodgers has been asking for directions to Quality Street for now months. Welcome back to Fog Football. That is the tagline that the Daily Record went with, and it looks like Nicolas Kuhn is on his way to Celtic. Yesterday we talked about how a bid was rejected, but it looks like today it's been found. A work permit has been passed and all that good stuff, and looks like Celtic are going to be on the verge of their first signing. So yeah, it could be the start of an avalanche of signings, with a 60 million up for grabs at the end of the season. You feel like the old firm need to start spending the cash, because both of them have not done much. Rangers have signed Luis Palma, but that is pretty much about it. But Brendan Rodgers, he's aiming to keep a rejuvenated Rangers under Clement at bay, is on the verge of landing Nicolas Kuhn in a deal worth between 2.5 and 3 million. Let's just call it 3 million because they rejected a bid yesterday. 24-year-old Rapid Vienna winger has been turned out for an aptly monikered club, as his searing pace now being consistently matched with strong decision making in the final third. Record Sport looks at the traits and finer details of a player who has his work permit rubber stamped before he secures his switch to Glasgow. He's aiming to bust myths and prove he's a talent to be reckoned with, and is no January stab in the dark. So, as you can see, the guy is clearly, his numbers have got better this season. I don't think anyone is going to deny that. And, it's like, I look at wingers, Celtic, yeah, I mean, they've got a bunch of dud wingers. I'm not going to pretend that they don't. But I look at Rangers and I'm like, Rangers are crying out. When was the last time Rangers had a winger on the right-hand side, man? Honestly, needs to be addressed. But let's talk about his senior career and all his career. Because, of course, when he was 17, 18, he was at Leipzig, but then he did get that move to Ajax, and he played 43 times for young Ajax, of course, grabbing himself 5 goals. But for the actual Ajax, he played no games. He then went on loan to Bayern Munich 2, where he scored 2 goals in 16 appearances. Then for Bayern Munich 2, he joined officially. He's part of the Bayern Munich youth setup, I guess you could say, scoring 4 goals in 19 appearances. He then went on loan to a German Bundesliga free side. The former East German side was a founding member of the Free Liga. So, Eresburger, he scored 3 goals in 27 appearances. Then, of course, he finally did get that move to Rapid Vienna in May 2022. He would leave Bayern Munich, and it looked like it was 500,000 was the reported fee then, and he ended up moving to the Austrian Bundesliga club. So absolutely fantastic, absolutely fab dabby dozy for Rapid Vienna. They're going to be making a wee bit of profit on that, 2.5 million, looking around that region, probably more actually, because they signed them for 500,000 euros. So that's good news for them, of course. But for Brendan Rodgers, he wanted to bring in a winger. It looks like this one's edging closer, when work permits are getting talked about and work permits are getting accepted and all that good stuff. It looks like this deal is edging closer. So Celtic fans here on Fog Football, that applies to you, Matty Miles. I know you do all your talking about Rangers, but what does this signing do for Celtic? Does this boost their chances of reclaiming Scottish Premiership? Does this boost our chances of 3 in a row? Does this boost our chances of the title, of a double? Or does this simply just add another body to the Celtic team? Because I think Celtic will be looking to get rid of a few players, like they already have done in this window. Mikey Johnson may have scored those 2 goals against Dundee, but he's still not good enough. Let's not kid ourselves here. Mikey Johnson is pish, to say the least. Rangers, though, crying out for a winger. They didn't want Luis Palma, or maybe he rejected him. I'm not too sure. Quite frankly, I don't give a damn. I'd have took him. Absolutely would have took Luis Palma at Rangers. See, I'm not delusional. Just because Celtic sign a player and Rangers, were sniffing about him, doesn't mean he's automatically pish at the end of the day. And the same goes for McKenna. I know there was talk about Rangers and Celtic both being interested, then Celtic kind of fell away, and Rangers looked like the only team, but now there's no real talk of it. Just because one of the old firm didn't want him, or, he didn't go to them, doesn't automatically make the player pish. You've got to put the bias aside. But Nicolas Kuhn, I'm not that impressed by him, if I'm being honest, but here, he's had his best season this season.